So continuing on such a great high, my name is Shelly Taniguchi. I am the chair of programming for WISE. And it is really my great pleasure and honor to be to introduce to you our next honoree, Julie Solwold, who is the Vice President of John Paul Mitchell's Sports and Events division, essentially. I have to tell this personal story because it sticks out in my mind so much. I met Julie at a Women in Business events panel. It was a group just very much like this, where there were women together speaking about their experiences and sharing about their own life. And Julie's story has really stuck out in my mind. She has a very unique and amazing story that I think it's unique in so many ways, but everyone can relate to. She started her career as a receptionist at John Paul Mitchell. And in 19 years, her career has evolved. She has grown her career from being a receptionist at the very beginning of her career to being the vice president of global sports marketing. How amazing is that? How amazing is that being able to reinvent who you are and really be able to say that I can do this, to have the courage to really reinvent and say this is a whole new industry. No one's created a pathway for me. And to be able to say, like, I'm going to do this, and I see a vision, I have the confidence, or maybe it's bravado. You know, all of us, I think, as women can sort of relate to the bravado that we sort of psych ourselves up to say, like, you know what, I can do this, I can really do this. But to really believe in whatever the mission is, the product, the vision of what you're trying to create, and make it a reality. And that is what stuck with me when I first met Julie. That is the story that it literally is stuck in my mind. So when we as a board for WISE LA came together and said, who do we want to honor this year? Who would we really want to honor for our first year? Julie's name came to the top of my mind. And I just knew that this is the right story to tell. This is the right person who's been an inspiration to so many women that she may not even realize it. So many women, including her daughter, who's here with us tonight, which I'm so thankful for as well. But again, it's really about that belief, I think, within all of us as women here in sports and events, predominantly a male-dominated industry, but for women to be able to carve our own niche, to say our own voice, and to be able to really stand proudly about who we are and what we have to offer, this is the gift that we're giving back. No matter where you are in your career, every woman in this industry has something to give. And that is the reason why I'm so very honored as a part of this board to be able to present on behalf of WISE Los Angeles the honoree award to Julie Solwold.
Leslie, I left my freeze and shine back in my room, so I don't have my prop there. I'm sorry. Guess I'm not that good of a marketer after all that. This truly is. It really is amazing for me. I am deeply honored and incredibly humbled to be among this amazing group of women here, the honorees, Leslie, Jessica, and Jaime, who's standing in for his fabulous wife. I have a unique story in that I did follow what I loved, even though Ellie Randall, my high school coach, God bless her, after failing the volleyball team, failing the basketball team, and failing being a cheerleader, said, maybe you should think about the chess team. And we didn't have a chess team. So I was like, all right, I knew I was good. But I knew that something in me said, I love sports, I love organizing, I love events, and I know that I can do it even if I'm not your typical, athlete out there. And I kind of took a unique route getting where I was, and after eloping for a second time, ended up at John Paul Mitchell Systems as a receptionist. knowing that at least it was an amazing company to work for, and I would be able to take care of my daughter. And it truly was the right time, the right place with the right skill set. So never, ever underestimate the fact that what you do now counts a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. Whatever you do to volunteer your time and your experience is a blessing down the road, because everything I volunteered for, every jazz festival I coordinated, every marathon I coordinated, brought me to where, when I worked as a receptionist at John Paul Mitchell Systems, and by the way, I got that job because I had a good voice. It was nothing other than JP picking up the phone and saying, okay, answer this, and I said, thank you for calling John Paul Mitchell Systems. And he said, great, honey, can you sound a little bit happier? I was like, okay. So I got the job, based on my voice, basically. So that's an easy one. Right time, the right place. They were looking for somebody with organizational skills who didn't mind working with a really crazy mentor who was my boss at that time, who was an administrative nightmare but a creative genius. I'm here with a number of people I've known for close to 20 years, Lori, Leanne, Diane, not quite that long. They can attest to Brooks's genius, but his craziness. Working my way up from there was truly just because you had a focus on the vision, and the vision was taking a company that was thought of as strictly a woman's hair care product, and realizing that if you don't expand that vision, you're going to die with your customer. So 20 years ago when we started sports marketing, it was like, why are you sponsoring snowboarding? They don't even wash their hair. It's like, 20 years later, can you say Shaun White? Yeah, it's like, I love it. There's a serious method to the madness, but the truth is, you have a vision and you keep on focus. I was very fortunate in that John Paul DeGioia, who owns John Paul Mitchell Systems, and his partner Angus, followed that vision as well. They were smart enough to realize that they also didn't want to die with their customer, and said, Julie, if you want to go for it, have at it. They gave me a lot of freedom, a lot of leeway, as long as it fell within the guidelines and the philosophy of the company, which is cruelty-free, environmentally friendly, and always give back to the community. He gave me a lot of freedom, and just by always keeping track of what my friends were doing, even more so what my daughter's friends were doing, we were able to keep the pulse on where the next generation of this product should go, and where these sports and events were absolutely going. So we became a lifestyle brand versus a hair care brand. And I'm certainly not saying we're there yet, but sponsoring snowboarding and skateboarding and BMX biking and hip-hop dancing and free skiing for the last 20 years, it's kind of at least made it so we have some legitimacy and credibility within those athletes, which is really important to the continuation and the longevity of a brand. So that, in kind of a lengthy thing, is the greatest challenge and also the greatest accomplishment. We're nowhere near being there, but I certainly look forward to the next 20 years. 19 years. As far as who helped me along the way, again, it was my crazy boss, Brooks Parsons, creative genius, and of course John Paul. I would never be able to do what I do and have the freedom to actually remind, in our industry it is all about beauty. He has had the vision, John Paul has had the vision and the wisdom to understand that beauty is defined in a number of different ways. And I am very fortunate in that I can over and over and over remind girls and women that beauty is about health and fitness. It's not about, this is a part of it, but it's a small part of it. And if you're not healthy and fit, then it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, you're not going to last very long, you're not going to be good to anybody. So as long as you're healthy and fit and you give back, and you love your family and your friends, that is a part of being beautiful. And that's what a beauty industry should be about. He's amazingly wonderful in that he allows me to continue to preach that gospel over and over again, and I think it's kind of sinking in a little bit. As far as my words of advice and wisdom to people following me in my path, which was a very unique path, Don't always elope. That kind of makes your parents get upset, but I think, and this is coming from a completely outside of the company, is as women sometimes we're taught that, or at least we think that you can't have a career and you can't have children, and you can't be successful at both at the same time. Obviously, they're wrong. I do know there are sacrifices that you have to make. I was a single mother for a long time, and therefore, my wonderful daughter, Kalina, was stuck underneath the tables at the beach volleyball sites while I was working all day. And she slept underneath my desk often because I had nowhere else to take her or put her. I didn't have family around. The truth is, what it does is it makes you stronger, it makes them stronger. And I never discount the fact that everything that you do as a role model in your work is absorbed by those around you and remembered, and it can actually do them some good. Your kids don't always hate you because you're gone all the time or because you drag them out to the beach volleyball on weekends. I'm very delighted to say that with all of the agony that Kalina went through in her 19 years at Paul Mitchell, she now actually is in sports marketing herself. And she actually works for me. So now I get to send her out on the weekends without me. But what you do as a very, very strong and powerful woman in sports and any type of events or entertainment, your children look at you and admire you and respect you, and they do not feel like they are being neglected. They understand and know that because you are strong, they are becoming even stronger. That would be the last thing I say, because it's so important to women to understand their children will follow in your footsteps if you let them believe that you can do both. You can have both. So again, I'm deeply, incredibly honored to receive this award. It truly is unexpected. And again, thank all of you, and I just look forward to more of this.